areas, we're going to continue to see these bands move across the area one right after another, pulling in this deep tropical moisture all across the area. So let me zoom in closer to the area. The red box is that tornado watch in effect until 1. The green boxes are flash flood warnings that are in effect. So from Galveston to Crystal Beach, all along the bay, take a look. Moderate to heavy rainfall indicated by the orange, the red, the yellow is that moderate rainfall from Liberty County and north up from Shepherd to Livingston this morning. Point Blank and even Huntsville has seen moderate to pretty heavy rainfall across the area over about the past hour. So again, that area, Moss Hill, including areas northeast of town. And then let me take you into East Houston along the East Beltway, I-10 eastbound. The same feeder band here really impacting the east side of town was really what earlier we were talking about on the west side. So we have seen most of this rain move. We haven't seen a whole lot of training just yet. But now from East Bernard, this is all that moisture that's being tugged up, wrapped around Harvey. And this is brand new. So these are areas that saw heavy rain overnight, got a little bit of a break, and now this is new heavy rain across the area from Pecan Grove, East Bernard, passing over I-10, Sealy, approaching Industry there on the northwest side of town. And then take a look from El Campo and, of course, Matagorda County, areas southwest of town really saw some big time total and accumulations. All right, so here's Yoakum, here's Victoria. Notice just northwest of Victoria. Again, moving, almost nearly stalling out as a Category 1 hurricane, and it's drawing in all this deep tropical moisture that's going to be wrapping around it over the next several days. So as far as the strength goes, we're still talking about a Category 1 now, maybe a tropical storm by this evening, and then it remains a tropical storm probably over the next 36 hours before weakening from there. Rainfall totals over the past 12 hours have varied, between 3 to 5 inches in town and east of town. Now we're continuing to see those pick up, of course, those rainfall rates right now, but along portions of the west and southwest side, that's where we did see overnight the heaviest amount of rain. Then take a look, peak wind gusts anywhere from 40 to 70 miles per hour. That's enough to do some damage right there. The latest forecasted track, if you haven't seen this, from the National Hurricane Center, Category 1, again, the center of circulation just northwest of Victoria, remains as a tropical storm, but notice the amount of days we keep the same status and it almost sits over the same area. So the problem is it has all this moisture wrapping around. It really has nowhere to go as it continues to pull in, draw this energy out of the Gulf. Remember those really warm waters really fueling the atmosphere with those heavy thunderstorms. And within some of those bands, with these thunderstorms, rainfall rates can be anywhere from 3 to 5 inches per hour. They can create not only a lot of lightning, but wind just within each cell, more squall-like weather, but an isolated brief tornado is not out of the question. So there are many factors that can really seriously do some damage. We saw that firsthand overnight, and this is the type of weather we'll be forecasting and tracking over the next several days. Weakens, though, to a tropical depression at this point. Now, by Tuesday and Wednesday, has it lifted northward, the forecast is going to change. This is going to be an ever-evolving situation. The more we see from Harvey and how it interacts with the atmosphere around it, then we'll know, of course, the forecast in front of it. But bottom line, we stay on the eastern side of this, so that means we're still expecting really heavy totals. In fact, not out of the question, upwards of 25 to 35 inches. Let's talk some of our creeks and bayous. Greens Bayou at East Tex. We are within its banks, but barely, okay? South Maid Creek is the only creek that I know of as of right now that is out of its banks. That's at Greenhouse. Darby's been showing some images from that. He's also been tucking. This is an area that is flood prone, but it is already out of its banks. Keegan's Bayou at West Belfort and Willcrest. Take a look within its banks, but again, barely. Now, the two areas that a lot of you have been asking about, even from our phone lines, White Oak Bayou at Heights Boulevard. White Oak Bayou at this point within its banks. We're continuing to monitor it, but we still have about 8 to 10 feet there. And then Buffalo Bayou, well within its banks. It is up 12 feet, but well within its banks. Remember, it can hold up to about almost 22 there. So as the future track, what we can expect here for the rest of the day, let me put this into motion for you. Lunchtime. Notice this is exactly what we're seeing. Most of this trying to lift east and northeast. There's that next feeder band that I'm tracking right now. That continues to move through downtown and portions of Harris County. Again, this is 2, 3 o'clock. Most of this does move. And then it gets interesting. These new feeder bands set up south of, and then they kind of stall out over some of the areas. And it does look like models are trending west and southwest, but even in town, that's where those heavier rain accumulations will start to settle in. There's the eye, though, hardly moving. Can you believe that from Harvey? Still forecasting up to Wednesday, guys, the potential of 25 to 35 inches, widespread amounts, anywhere from 10 to 20 inches of rain. So this is still in the forecast. There will be brief breaks, but you have to know that heavy rain is right around the corner. So do not let your guard down. Even when you look out the window and you see a little bit of sun come up, that's actually going to re-energize the atmosphere. So when some of these feeder bands move in, those thunderstorms become a little bit more explosive. So don't let your guard down, even when you look outside and we get a little bit of a break. Over the next 4 days, I'm telling you, it is going to be a very severe event. So guys, I'll send it back to you. We'll continue to monitor the radar, and Darby, of course, tracking the roads.
And no matter what happens, we're going to stay on the same side of this storm and be wet no matter what, right?
You're right about that.
That's never going to change.
A lot of rain headed this way, and that's the biggest threat that we're going to continue to monitor.
Okay. Thanks, Cheetah.
Thank you. All right, we continue our team coverage in Fort Bend County. Our Melissa